Though Steve Beverly is known in many different ways by those in the Jackson community, he has been on TV impacting viewers long before coming to Jackson. No matter where he goes, Beverly leaves a history of being remembered.
And we stay in close contact even now. And I loved his parents and was very close to them. His daddy was Steve is a lot like his daddy because his daddy was a scream.
I don't care what was burning down. I don't care what was going on. It could have been stressful and Steve was going to find the humor or something about it.
Beverly never stops. He is always striving to be better and to do what is best for those around him. His character stays consistent no matter where his life takes him.
Steve was one of those people who always was very attuned to everybody's sensitivities.
He just was so respectful, do whatever he could do the best he could do, help you do the best you could do, me do the best I could do. He was just a great support and font of knowledge.
Yet, striving to be the best and always giving 100% left Beverly with almost nothing.
And I came in one night from being in the newsroom all day, and finally I dropped to my knees and I had a nervous breakdown. I went into a crying spell that lasted 90 minutes.
It was tough, and it was really difficult for me watching him because I wanted to fix it. I wanted him to get better, and that's not an easy thing.
Beverly knew he might one day struggle with depression and anxiety because he watched his father struggle. He was a senior in high school when his father took on too much and was forced to step away. They later learned that it was a chemical imbalance in his blood that triggered his depression.
I was told at the time that because of genetics, that I could be a candidate for that.
Despite his extensive and successful career, Beverly has had more than his fair share of struggles. He pushes himself and continues to put out his best work. Yet at times, this is the very thing that almost kills him.
And I very bluntly told him I was worried about him. And he said something about, well, by Christmas, I'll have a break. And I said, no, Steve, by Christmas, you're going to be dead.
There were times when it all almost came to an end. He had too much on himself, just like his father, and he was barely hanging on.
When Dr. Joanne said, if you don't do something, you're going to be dead by Christmas. When Dr. Joanne tells you anything, you better pay attention.
And that got his attention, and he gasped.
It really hit home with Beverly when people started to notice that he was tired and needed help.
I was exhausted, and Dr. Joanne saw it, and I said, how did you know? She said, I'd been watching your eyes for about the last 4 weeks. And she said, when you're a psychologist, you're trained to look at people's eyes and you can tell. And she said, there was no way you were going to be able to keep going at this pace.
Beverly needed someone to tell him that it was time to stop. He had to step back and take care of himself first.
You're giving too much of yourself to everybody except you. I've been through this myself. I was on the verge of death because of depression and anxiety. And I can feel it in you as somebody who's been close to you for decades.
Yet this was not the only time he struggled. In total, Beverly has had 3 bouts with depression and anxiety.
He struggled. He really did struggle.
And I knew at that point I had to have help. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I'm blessed to this day that Rebecca was there because she started making calls.
He knew that he needed to make a change for himself, his family, his friends, and his students. Beverly was doing entirely too much. Yet, through this time, he sought to help others. In an article that Beverly did with the Jackson Sun, he stated, "When I first began talking publicly about it, I had so many people tell me, 'But you seem so happy,'" he went on to say, "and a lot of the times my response is, so did Robin Williams." Beverly is never one to shy away from the very real and raw struggles that he has faced. He wants to be open and honest because mental health is not something to be taken lightly.
He's very open with, with his struggles with depression, and to me, at the time, I don't know that I fully appreciated what a big deal that was.
Beverly has never stopped sharing his story. He is living proof every day that it will get better, and he never lets go of that hope.
I knew I had to have the help of God, but I also had to have the help of God's servants.
The one aspect that Beverly could firmly hold on to was his faith. Even during his darkest days, he always found hope in Jesus. In The Jackson Sun, Beverly stated, "I'm a Christian, and we all have to hold someone's hand throughout life. And there's one greater than all of us to hold onto when life gets too difficult, and that is Jesus Christ."
You can't get through something like depression if you don't have that to hold on to.
Beverly has had dark days and moments where he was left hopeless, yet he was never alone. He could always reach out to one of God's servants to pick him back up, and he would do the same for them.
That's so important, being able to have someone that you can call on and know that when you hang up, you're going to feel better because you have Steve Beverly as your friend.